many families are heading back to school, there are some growing concerns that our children are at serious risk. According to Save the Children, 68 million children are separated from their parents every single workday, but 28 states and D.C. fail to require emergency safety plans for schools and child care centers. And this is happening despite a record year of disasters and high-profile school tragedies. We don't need to remind you of so many of them still so fresh in our mind, from the mass shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, and of course Hurricane Sandy and other natural disasters. The aid group says a lack of planning could endanger children's lives and make it harder for them to be reunited with their families in the event of any sort of disaster. Kathy Spangler is vice president for the U.S. program for the international watchdog nonprofit Save the Children. Kathy, nice to have you today. Good timing to talk a little bit about this. What did you find specifically in these schools where there didn't seem to be a proper plan?
Thanks, Jenna. You know, it was a remarkable year last year for children in emergencies and disasters, and yet Save the Children's report shows that 28 states and the District of Columbia failed to meet the standards, the basic standards that are necessary to protect children.
And what are some of those basic standards that every school should have?
Well, as you said, 68 million children are separated from their parents every day, with many parents working 20, 30, 40 miles away. These minimum standards, and they are minimum, would require that child care centers first and foremost have an evacuation and a relocation plan, that they also have a reunification plan, and that they have a plan in place to meet the special needs for children with disabilities and access and functional needs. And for schools, K through 12, an emergency plan that is prepared to meet a variety of various hazards are important for schools to practice and drill on a regular basis.
Then the question comes to, what can we do as families to better prepare not only our children but ourselves, that we're going to be able to reach each other in the event that something bad happens. And we have a little bit of a cheat sheet for our viewers with a couple points, Kathy, and one in particular I wanted to talk a little bit about. Make a family emergency plan. What does this plan need to have as part of it? How long should you prepare to be separated, and how do you talk to your children without scaring them?
Well, there's no question that this past year has created a sense of awareness, but we still are a nation not prepared to meet children's needs. And so we're launching the Get Ready, Get Safe campaign at SaveTheChildren.org/Get Ready. And there are downloadable forms for parents and grandparents and caregivers and communities to address these needs. But most importantly, we would suggest that you have an emergency kit that has child-friendly items in it, crayons and nutritious snacks, that in fact you would have a plan and that you would actually take the time to drill with your child so that they know what their role is. Children are part of the equation, and they shouldn't be treated as little adults. And then, of course, you know, you can make sure that you're working with your child care centers and your schools to ensure that they have the plans in place, that they're drilling against them regularly, because even if we're prepared, in the midst of a disaster, what we found in the last year, where emergency management crews did not have good records on where child care centers were, as a parent, you need to make sure that that plan is in place and that you're well drilled to respond.
What an interesting tip to put the crayons, some items that you mentioned, where children know these are good items. They're not just the flashlights and the Band-Aids and the emergency foods. It kind of seems scary, but make this seem more approachable to them. We'll make sure to put the website up, Kathy. Some good tips for families across this country, and we appreciate your time today. Thank you.